the maverick of the Senate.
President Trump celebrating a big trade victory after reaching a deal with Mexico to replace NAFTA.
Once signed, it'll be a major first step toward fulfilling a key campaign promise of renegotiating U.S. trade deals. John Roberts breaks down the new agreement.
It was another Oval Office first. President Trump with the president of Mexico on speakerphone to announce a new bilateral trade deal with our neighbor to the south.
They used to call it NAFTA. We're going to call it the United States Mexico Trade Agreement. We'll get rid of the name NAFTA. It has a bad connotation because the United States was hurt very badly by NAFTA for many years.
Outgoing Mexican President Enrique Peña Nieto was as enthusiastic about the deal as President Trump was. He even said he'd like to give President Trump a big hug, though he acknowledged getting to an agreement was tough.
I am really grateful, Mr. President, and this has, of course, been a negotiation that has taken months. It's been difficult, complex, and a very hard negotiation altogether, with difficult moments, of course.
The biggest change in the trade relationship is rules of origin for cars. 75% of components used to build cars must be made in either Mexico or the U.S. 40 to 45% of auto content must be made by workers earning at least $16 an hour. The deal also increases trade in agricultural goods, keeping tariffs at zero. It all puts much more pressure on Canada to now make a deal. Canada was involved in three-way talks with Mexico and the U.S. before President Trump decided to do a one-on-one with Mexico first. The president is really putting the squeeze on Canada, warning that if the U.S. can't reach a new trade deal with our neighbor to the north, he is prepared to slap significant tariffs on Canadian-made automobiles destined for the United States. At the White House, John Roberts, Fox News.
The president really putting the squeeze on Canada, trying to get negotiations with our northern border going.
Molly Hemingway, senior editor at The Federalist, says Canada should want to come to the table to reach an agreement.
The tune has changed quite a bit from Canada, and this is a profoundly vindicating day for the Trump administration, which has put forth a strategy that a lot of people thought was risky, and they were very worried about it, of putting the squeeze on tariffs, trying to renegotiate a bunch of trade agreements. President Trump obviously prefers bilateral trade agreements over these multinational things that were quite popular for a few decades. But this is a good agreement. I mean, taking one of the things that was mentioned by Ambassador Lighthizer, that 40 to 45% of goods going into automobiles need to be made by people who are making at least $16 an hour. There was no requirement on how much people needed to be paid in Mexico when they were making these parts. We like to call NAFTA a free trade agreement, but it's really a very complex situation, and renegotiating some of those rules to be more favorable is a good thing.
Earlier this month, President Trump threatened Canada with auto tariffs if the U.S. and Canada cannot forge a deal.
All right, tensions flaring between the United States and Iran. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo now vowing a vigorous defense of U.S. sanctions. This after Iran urged the United Nations highest court to halt the penalties after President Trump pulled out of the 2015 nuclear deal. Iranian President Hassan Rouhani says Tehran will defeat so-called anti-Iranian officials in the White House. Iran says they now have control of the Strait of Hormuz. That's an important oil trade route amid the sanctioned battle. The UN Security Council is set to discuss the Middle East and Syria today. The Trump administration buckles down on Russia. Another round of U.S. sanctions against the Kremlin just went into effect, this time over a chemical weapons attack back in March. The U.S. blames Russia for poisoning a spy and his daughter, which Moscow denies. This coming as a former al-Qaeda member turned British spy issues a dire warning about these types of attacks. He tells CBS, quote, the Novichok attack was a big neon sign, an advertisement basically for al-Qaeda and ISIS.
Michael Cohen's lawyer is now backpedaling on claims he made about President Trump and Russian meddling. Lanny Davis admitting to being the anonymous source that told CNN his client knew that the president was aware of the infamous Trump Tower meeting with Donald Trump Jr., claims the president denied. Davis telling Fox News, quote, I take the responsibility for not communicating more clearly my uncertainty. I regret the error. Cohen pleaded guilty to fraud charges just last week. President Trump and the First Lady honor evangelical leaders during a dinner at the White House.
We're here this evening to celebrate America's heritage of faith, family, and freedom. As you know, in recent years, the government tried to undermine religious freedom. But the attacks on communities of faith are over. We've ended it.
The president pointing to efforts by the administration to secure the release of imprisoned pastors and limit federal funding for abortions.
All right, Houston Texans star J.J. Watt sacking a world record off the field. Watt announcing his foundation has raised $41.6 million in the 1 year since Hurricane Harvey devastated Texas. It is the largest crowdsourced fundraiser ever.
The money already making a huge impact, including cleaning and rebuilding more than 600 homes and distributing more than 26 million meals. Watt says he cannot thank everyone enough for their donations. It's incredible.
I think they were aiming for like a couple $100,000 and they got the 41 mil. Amazing.
Yep. All right, it is 10 minutes after the hour. This video will give you goosebumps. A panicked woman ringing doorbells in the dead of the night with shackles on her wrists. The urgent warning from authorities.
Jeez.
It's like a scary movie.
Yeah, it does. Blueprints blocked. A judge banning 3D gun plans online. While our next guest, a self-defense attorney, says this is about our First Amendment, not the Second.